I don't know what it is.
Well, they used to have those products growing up. I used to hear always use bleach and glow, but you'd have to have about 300,000 gallons to...
Okay, number one, this is the situation.
Yes.
I have a skin disorder that destroys the pigmentation of the skin. It's something that I cannot help. Okay, but when people make up stories that I don't want to be who I am, it hurts me.
So it is.
It's a problem for me, okay? I can't control it, okay? But what about all the millions of people? Let's reverse it.
Okay.
What about all the millions of people who sit out in the sun to become darker, to become other than what they are? Nobody says nothing about that.
So when did this start? When did the color of your skin start to change?
Oh boy, sometime after Thriller, around Off the Wall Thriller.
And what did you think? I mean,
It's in my family. My father said it's on his side. I can't control it. I don't understand. I mean, it makes me very sad.
Wacko Jacko. Where'd that come from? Some English tabloid. I have a heart and I have feelings. I feel that when you do that to me. It's not nice. Don't do it.
Michael Jackson spent much of his life sitting across from interviewers who treated him less like a person and more like a puzzle they were determined to unlock. Yet the remarkable part was that the harsher the questions became, the less power they seemed to have over him. He rarely responded with anger or confrontation. Sometimes he answered with quiet confidence, sometimes with a gentle smile, and sometimes he simply drew a line and said enough. Then he would sit back and allow the silence to settle, leaving the interviewer alone with the tension they had created themselves.
What?
how nervous are you right now?
I'm not nervous at all, actually.
You really aren't?
No, I never get nervous.
You don't?
No.
No, not even for your first interview and it's live around the world? I thought you'd be a little nervous, but that's great, because if you're not nervous, I won't be nervous. I just wanted to let the world know that when we agreed to do this interview, you said that you would be willing to talk to me about everything, and we haven't discussed one single question that's going to be asked here tonight. Just wanted to make that right.
That's very true.
And that is exactly why the interview with Oprah Winfrey becomes the ideal place to start this story. In 1993, Oprah Winfrey secured Michael Jackson's first live television interview in 14 years, a moment that instantly captured global attention. But within the very first minutes, one thing became crystal clear: this was never going to be a comfortable celebrity conversation filled with easy questions and polished answers. The atmosphere carried tension, curiosity, and the feeling that something far bigger was about to unfold.
It's crazy.
Do you go out? Do you date?
Yes.
Who do you date?
Well, right now it's Brooke Shields. Well, we try not to just be everywhere and go it's mostly at home. She'll come over, I'll go to her house, because I don't like going out in the public.
Have you ever been in love?
Yeah.
With Brooke Shields?
Yes, and another girl.
And another?
At one point, Oprah Winfrey asked the question that would continue echoing through television history for decades afterward. It was personal, unexpected, and the kind of question designed to put anyone on the spot. Yet Michael Jackson never appeared rattled. His response was calm, controlled, and effortless. "I'm a gentleman," he replied, transforming an intensely private and intrusive moment into a display of grace, sidestepping the pressure without surrendering his composure for even a second.
I'm going to ask you this, and it's embarrassing for me to ask you this, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Are you a virgin?
How could you ask me that question?
I just want to know. I want to know.
I'm a gentleman.
You're a gentleman.
I'm a gentleman.
So
I'm a gentleman.
Okay, I would interpret that to mean that means that you believe that a lady is a lady, and therefore...
It's something that's private. I mean, shouldn't be spoken about openly. You can call me old-fashioned if you want, but, to me that's very personal.
So you're not going to answer it?
I'm embarrassed.
Years later, Oprah Winfrey admitted that even asking the question left her feeling uncomfortable. That brief moment revealed something much bigger about Michael Jackson's complicated relationship with the media. For years, he was expected to open every door to his private life whenever curiosity demanded it. Yet whenever an interview crossed into deeply personal territory, he rarely reacted the way people expected. Instead of giving critics the explosive confrontation they were hoping for, Michael Jackson remained composed, refusing to reward invasive questions with the
That
dramatic
down real
breakdown.
quick. Nowadays,
they seemed
that line
determined
of
to
question-
provoke.
Well, we would like to know whether or not there is a possibility that you are going to marry one day and have children.
I would feel that my life isn't complete if I do not, because I adore the family life. I adore children, and I adore that whole thing. And I would love to. That's one of my dreams, but I couldn't right now because I'm married. I am married, but to my work. I'm married to my music.
That interview remains important for another reason as well. It preserved a moment when tabloid culture had begun exerting enormous influence over how Michael Jackson was perceived by the public. By then, endless speculation about his appearance had started overshadowing nearly everything else. Conversations became fixated on his face, his skin, and physical changes, while far fewer people seemed interested in listening to his actual words, understanding his perspective, or hearing the thoughts he was trying to share.
Okay, Michael,
Horrifying
then let's go
stories.
to the thing that is most discussed about you, I think, is the fact that the color of your skin is obviously different than it was when you were younger.
Yes.
And so I think it has caused a great deal of speculation and controversy as to what you have done or are doing. Are you bleaching your skin? And is your skin lighter because you don't like being black?
Okay, number one, as I know of, there is no such thing as skin bleaching. I have never seen it. I don't know what it is.
In his autobiography Moonwalk, and later during his conversation with Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jackson addressed the constant speculation surrounding his appearance. He maintained that he had undergone only 2 rhinoplasty procedures along with a chin cleft enhancement, while firmly rejecting the many additional cosmetic surgery claims that continued circulating in the media and fueling public fascination.
To have those products growing up, I used to hear always use bleach and glow, but you'd have to have about 300,000 gallons to.
Okay, number one, this is the situation.
Yes.
I have a skin disorder that destroys the pigmentation of the skin. It's something that I cannot help. Okay, but when people make up stories that I don't want to be who I am, it hurts me.
So it is.
It's a problem for me, okay? I can't control it, okay? But what about all the millions of people? Let's reverse it.
Okay.
What about all the millions of people who sit out in the sun to become darker, to become other than what they are? Nobody says nothing about that.
So when did this start? When did the color of your skin start to change?
Oh boy, sometime after Thriller, around Off the Wall Thriller, sometime
And what did you
around there.
think? I mean,
It's in my family. My father said it's on his side. I can't control it. I don't understand. I mean, it makes me very sad.
How much plastic surgery have you had?
Very, very little. You can count them on 2 fingers. I mean, let's say this. If you want to know about those things, all of the nosy people in the world,
But
read
once
my
we
book.
say it, we don't have to say it anymore.
Read my book, Moonwalker. It's in my book. You know, let's just put it this way. If all the people in Hollywood who have had plastic surgery, if they went on vacation, there wouldn't be a person left in town.
I think you might be right.
I think I am right.
He also revealed that the changes in his skin pigmentation were the result of vitiligo, a medical condition that was later supported by findings after his death. So when audiences watched Michael Jackson sitting across from Oprah Winfrey, they were witnessing far more than a famous entertainer responding to difficult questions. They were watching a man attempting to reclaim control of a narrative that had long escaped his hands, pushing back against a version of himself shaped by headlines, speculation, and years of sensational storytelling that often spoke louder than the truth.
I don't want to go into my medical history because that's something that's private, but that's the situation here. So please, when people see something like that.
I just want to get this straight.
Yeah.
You are not taking anything to change the color of your skin.
Oh God, no.
You did not purposely.
We're trying to control it, and using makeup evens it out because it makes blotches on the skin, and I have to even out my skin. But you know what's funny? Why is that so important? You know, that's not important to me. I'm a great fan of art. I love Michelangelo. If I had a chance to talk to him or read about him, I would want to know about what inspired him to become who he is, the anatomy of his craftsmanship, not about who he went out with last night or why he decided to sit out in the sun so long. What's wrong with, I mean, that's what's important.
That is one of the biggest reasons clips of Michael Jackson continue spreading across the internet decades later. He rarely reacted the way interviewers anticipated. Instead of sounding angry, cornered, or desperate to defend himself, he often appeared calm, deliberate, and remarkably controlled. He spoke like someone who understood that many people had already formed their opinions long before hearing his side, yet he still believed the truth deserved an opportunity to exist alongside the rumors. That same unmistakable tension between public perception and personal reality surfaces once again in Barbara Walters' interview, where a familiar pattern begins to unfold.
He's psychic, is that what you're saying?
I don't want to say that, but I've done it before.
And you thought it might be you?
Yes. I've been living in that kind of life all my life. The tabloid press, that kind of press, not the press, the tabloid, the paparazzi, that type. I've been running for my life like that, hiding, getting away. You can't go that way because they're over there. And well, let's go this way. Pretend we're going that way and we'll go that way. Somebody should say, hold on, stop. This person deserves their privacy. You are not allowed.
The interview was filmed in Paris and later broadcast on ABC, arriving at a time when Michael Jackson had already endured years of relentless scrutiny from newspapers, magazines, and television commentators. Nearly every aspect of his life had become a subject of public examination, from his appearance and personal routines to the boundaries he tried to maintain around his private world. Accounts from that interview indicate that Barbara Walters questioned him about the constant presence of paparazzi and the growing intrusion into his everyday life, while the wider media climate of that era revealed just how intensely public attention remained focused on his physical appearance rather than the person behind the headlines.
This you should not do. You should not say he's an animal. Should not say he's Jacko. I'm not a Jacko. I'm Jackson.
How do you feel when they call you
Wacko Jacko? Where'd that come from? Some English tabloid. I have a heart and I have feelings. I feel that when you do that to me. It's not nice. Don't do it. I'm not a wacko.
There are those who would say that you add to the attention.
No, I don't.
Well, the masks, the mysterious behavior.
There's no mysterious behavior. There's a time when I give a concert, I like to have as many people want to come can come and enjoy the show. And there's a time where you like to be in private when you put on your pajamas, go to sleep, cut off the light, ding, and lay down. That's your private space. If you go in the park, I can't go in the park though. So I create my own park at Neverland, my own water space, my movie theater, my theme park. That's all for me to enjoy.
This became yet another moment where an interviewer seemed determined to reach the private side of Michael Jackson, but he answered in the same way he often did, with patience, composure, and a level of politeness that almost made the exchange feel one-sided. That self-control was precisely what made his responses so effective. No matter how personal the questions became, he refused to hand over the dramatic reaction critics were waiting for, denying them the explosive moment that could easily be turned into tomorrow's headline.
I don't want this to sound insulting. I'm just going to be straight with you. But you are somewhat eccentric, to say the least. The way you dress, the way you look, it invites attention. More extreme. You don't think that calls the paparazzi to you?
No.
No?
No. Maybe I like to live that way. I like to dress that way. I don't want paparazzi, really. But if they come, be kind. Write the right kind thing to write.
Michael, is it the journalist's role or the press's role to be kind?
To be kind?
Because the press also sometimes has to look into things, be tough. Can't always be kind.
What you saw what happened to Lady Diana, you tell me. There should be some boundaries, some kind of way. The star needs some space. Give him a chance to relax. He has a heart.
By the middle of the 1990s, the atmosphere surrounding these interviews had changed dramatically. The conversations were no longer focused solely on superstardom, success, or life in the spotlight. Instead, they became increasingly shaped by controversy, public doubt, relentless scrutiny, and growing suspicion. Every question seemed to carry more weight than before, and every answer was examined through a harsher lens. That is precisely why the 1995 primetime interview featuring Diane Sawyer, Lisa Marie Presley, and Michael Jackson remains so compelling. It unfolded at a moment when public curiosity had evolved into something far more intense, turning a television interview into a high-stakes examination of image, trust, and perception.
Who proposed? I mean, how did marriage actually get discussed?
Well, at first, this is what happened. When she was 18, I used to tell my lawyer, John Branca, do you know Lisa Marie Presley? He'd go, well, I represent her mother. I go, well, can you get in touch with her? Because I think she's really cute. He'd laugh every time. He goes, I'll do my best. That's what he'd say. Then he'd come back and I said, well, did you find out? He said, no, there's nothing. So I would worry him about this all the time. The next thing I noticed, there's a picture on a magazine cover where she's married, which really tore me to.
According to later reporting by Vanity Fair, nearly 60 million viewers tuned in to watch. And because it marked Michael Jackson's first major televised interview following the 1993 allegations, the event carried attention that felt far bigger than an ordinary discussion. For many watching, it resembled a public examination unfolding before millions of eyes rather than a traditional interview. The broadcast was heavily advertised as a no-holds-barred conversation, a description that perfectly captured the atmosphere surrounding it. Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie Presley were not simply answering questions about their relationship, they were navigating an environment saturated with doubt, relentless tabloid fascination, and a media landscape hungry for controversy, speculation, and anything that could become tomorrow's headline.
Media hunger.
Did you ask Michael about the charges? Did the two of you talk about the impact of the marriage on the allegations?
Absolutely not. He called, I was in touch with him through the whole process of this charges going on. I was talking to him when he disappeared. I was actually supposed to go to San Juan, Puerto Rico when he left and disappeared, and I got a call that he wasn't going to be there, and I was actually part of the whole thing with him, but talking to him on the phone. So I didn't...
Did you say to him, are they true?
No, I didn't. No, I actually did not.
I want to take a minute here, and I'm going to come back to the marriage.
Sorry. He went on and on and on about it, so I didn't really have to say, are the allegations true? It was, on the phone, and
over and over
just
again.
As Diane Sawyer continued pushing with increasingly direct questions, what stood out most was how little Michael Jackson appeared shaken by the pressure surrounding him. Considering the intense media narrative that had followed him for years, many viewers expected visible discomfort or frustration, yet that reaction never truly arrived. Instead, he remained composed and deliberate, while Lisa Marie Presley often appeared quietly defensive and supportive beside him. The interview gradually became something more than a conversation. It turned into a striking demonstration of how two people could endure an intensely skeptical spotlight without allowing it to overwhelm, define, or break them.
I want to begin by making sure that the terms are clear. You have said that you would never harm a child. I want to be specific as I can. Did you ever, as this young boy said you did you ever sexually engage, fondle, have sexual contact with this child or any other child?
Never, ever. I could never harm a child or anyone. It's not in my heart. It's not who I am. And it's not what I'm not even interested in that.
And what do you think should be done to someone who does that?
To someone who does that, what I think it should be done, I think they need help in some kind of way,
How about the police photographs, though? How was there enough information from this boy about those kinds of things?
The police photographs that they took of me.
Yes.
There was nothing that matched me to those charges.
There was nothing. There was nothing that concurred.
That's why I'm sitting here talking to you today. There was not one iota of information that was found that could connect me.
So when we've heard that there was a marking
nothing.
of some kind.
No marking.
That interview also stands as one of the strongest examples of how Michael Jackson's personal life had become a source of public spectacle. There was intense curiosity surrounding every aspect of the relationship, with endless questions about whether it was genuine, calculated, unconventional, symbolic, or somehow designed for public attention. The fascination seemed less focused on understanding the people involved and more focused on dissecting the relationship itself. Yet the harder interviewers tried to frame the narrative through those assumptions. The more Michael Jackson and Lisa Marie Presley appeared committed to defending their own account of the story, refusing to let outside speculation define the reality they were presenting.
Why did you settle the case then? Why did you settle the case? And it looks to everyone as if you paid a huge amount of money.
Most of that's
to get
folklore.
silence.
I talked to my lawyers and I said, can you guarantee me that justice will prevail? And they said, Michael, we cannot guarantee you that a judge or a jury will do anything. And with that, I was like catatonic. I was outraged.
How much money
Totally
was it?
outraged. So what I said, I have got to do something to get out from under this nightmare. All these lies and all these people coming forward to get paid in these tabloid shows, just lies, 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 lies. So what I did, we got together again with my advisors and they advised me, it was hands down, a unanimous decision, resolve the case. This could be something that could go on for 7 years.
How much
We
money
said,
was
let's get it behind.
What gives that moment its lasting impact is not that Michael Jackson loses his temper or delivers some explosive response. The real power comes from the opposite. He quietly refuses to allow the conversation to unfold entirely according to the interviewer's expectations. Rather than reacting emotionally, he maintains control of his presence and refuses to be pulled into the narrative being built around him. That mattered because this was far from an ordinary celebrity interview. It was one of the most watched television events of the year, and every glance, pause, smile, and expression from Michael Jackson was being examined, interpreted, and treated by millions as if it were evidence in a much larger public case.
We have called everyone we can call. We have checked everything we can check. We have gone and tried to see if what we heard before is in fact the case. I want to ask you about two things. These reports that we read over and over again, that in your rooms they found photographs of young boys, not of
Young
adults,
boys, there's children, all kind of girls and everything.
and that they found photographs, books of young boys who were undressed.
No,
Didn't happen.
no, not that I know of, unless people sent me things that I haven't opened. People know my love for children. So they send me books from all over the world, from South America, from Germany, from Italy, from Sweden.
So if people say that they found those things, if there's an indication, let them come forward, let them produce them, right?
Yeah, because I get all you wouldn't believe the amounts of mail that I get. And if you say to somebody, you know, if I let the fans know I love Charlie Chaplin, I'll be swarmed in Charlie Chaplin paraphernalia. But if I say I love children, which I do, they swarm me with everything.
Then came the 60 Minutes interview, a conversation many viewers still remember as one of the most tense and emotionally charged moments of Michael Jackson's media career. During his exchange with Ed Bradley, Michael Jackson was confronted with questions surrounding one of the most controversial subjects attached to his public reputation. By that stage, the issue had become inseparable from the intense scrutiny surrounding his life, and Bradley approached it with the seriousness of a matter that had already shaped years of headlines and public debate. There was nothing casual about the atmosphere. From the moment the topic surfaced, the interview carried the weight of a subject that had become central to how millions of people viewed Michael Jackson, turning the conversation into a high-pressure examination rather than a routine television interview.
Here is part of that conversation.
What is your response to the allegations that were brought by the district attorney in Santa Barbara that you molested this boy?
Totally false. Before I would hurt a child, I would slit my wrists. I would never hurt a child. This is totally false. I was outraged. I could never do something like that.
This is a kid you knew?
Yes.
How would you characterize your relationship with this boy?
I've helped many, many, many children, thousands of children. Cancer kids, leukemia kids. This is one of many.
That British documentary last February, which you didn't like.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
You said in that documentary that many children have slept in your bedroom. You said,
Yes.
and I'm going to quote here, why can't you share your bed? The most loving thing to do is to share your bed with someone.
Yes.
As we sit here today, do you still think that it's acceptable to share your bed with children?
Of course.
The atmosphere carried such weight because the consequences surrounding the discussion were enormous. Every question seemed loaded with significance, and every answer had the potential to shape public perception. That is precisely why Michael Jackson's composure became such a striking part of the interview itself. The more intensely the subject was presented, the more deliberate and careful he appeared in his responses. Rather than behaving like someone desperate to win a debate or overpower an interviewer, he projected the demeanor of someone who understood something deeper, that the controversy was no longer just about the facts being discussed. The controversy itself had become the headline, the narrative, and the spectacle millions were watching unfold.
Of course, why not? If you're going to be a pedophile, if you're going to be Jack the Ripper, if you're going to be a murderer, it's not a good idea. That I'm not. That's how we were raised. And I didn't sleep in the bed with the child. Even if I did, it's okay. I slept on the floor.
If you're looking for one of the strongest examples of Michael Jackson pushing back against the narrative being built around him, the 2003 interview with Martin Bashir is impossible to ignore. Living with Michael Jackson was presented as an intimate documentary, with Bashir granted extraordinary access into areas of Michael Jackson's life that few journalists had ever been allowed to see. On the surface, it appeared to be an opportunity for the public to witness the man behind the headlines. But after the documentary aired, Michael Jackson argued that the final program did not reflect the experience he believed had been captured. He maintained that the documentary framed him unfairly and portrayed aspects of his life, particularly his role as a father, through a lens that left viewers with a very different impression than the one he felt had actually existed during filming.
You know, you physically changed, haven't you? The photographs of you, if I look at them.
No, it's called adolescence. It's called growing and changing.
Yeah, but even the shape of your face has changed.
No, it's not. I've had no plastic surgery on my face, just my nose. It helped me breathe better so I can hit higher notes and have clear. The press decided to add on all this stuff. Nothing's been done to my eyes, cheekbones, chins, lips, nothing. They made it all up.
Do you think that people do go too far with plastic surgery, generally? Do you think it's become... So why are you so defensive when people say, Mick Jagger's had one, Paul McCartney may have had one, Michael Jackson's had one?
They don't do it that way.
What do they do?
Just pick on me like I'm the only one that does it. That's...
By the time of the 1987 Ebony Jet interview, Michael Jackson already carried himself with the awareness of someone who understood exactly how public perception could shape a person's story. These earlier conversations are important because they reveal that his composure was not something developed later in response to controversy or intense scrutiny. It was already part of who he was long before the biggest headlines arrived. Even then, he seemed to recognize that showing too much emotion could allow others to redirect the conversation and transform his reactions into the real story. As a result, he became increasingly measured, thoughtful, and intentional with his words. Over time, Michael Jackson mastered the ability to remain calm beneath the brightest spotlight, sitting before cameras with a quiet confidence that made him appear almost unreachable, no matter how intense the attention surrounding him became.
A lot has been required of you. Do you sometimes regret being so utterly famous?
No, sometimes. Only sometimes. Sometimes I want to sneak into places and not have any hoopla or, and it doesn't work all the time. Because people start and they crowd around, which is sweet. I mean, I shouldn't complain, but...
No, but you have a right to complain because everybody has the right to go out there and to just be alone. But it seems like that right isn't really given to you.
What's part of...
And that is where the true impact of these moments really comes from. They were never about Michael Jackson raising his voice the loudest or overpowering interviewers with dramatic confrontations. Their significance lies in something far more revealing: his refusal to let difficult, uncomfortable, or deeply personal questions strip away his sense of dignity. These interviews reveal a version of Michael Jackson that was often more perceptive and strategically composed than many people expected. He seemed to understand a lesson that others frequently overlooked. The more provocative or sensational the question became, the less valuable it was to respond with the reaction it was designed to provoke. Instead, he answered with restraint, patience, and control, turning composure into a form of quiet strength. If you enjoyed revisiting some of Michael Jackson's most memorable interview moments, be sure to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. Which interview do you think Michael Jackson handled best? And which moment do you believe revealed the most about the man behind the headlines?